With 3 houses coming out on the horizon, I've compiled a list of story and gameplay elements that you should know before going into the game. If you don't want to be spoiled, I recommend turning away now as there will be spoilers. I'm going to be breaking down the video into a few different elements, so if there's something that you're interested in, please click the timestamps below. In 3 houses, you take control of Byleth, or whatever you decided to name Byleth, your avatar character. You work alongside your father, Geralt, who was once the most famous knight in all of Fodlan, who gave it all up to become a mercenary. During your time working with Geralt, by happenstance, you save a village where all the students happen to be at, against a vicious group of bandits. Thanks to the power of Sothis, you're able to use a power where you can stop and rewind time, and you triumph over the bandits. Because of your fighting prowess, you get invited to work at the Monastery, and here you reunite with the students that you saved at the village. Edelgard, the female student that you saved against the bandits, is the house leader of the Black Eagles. The Black Eagles house hails from the kingdom of the Odestrian Empire. The students in this house seem to favor using axes and black magic, something that I'm sure you'll see as you spend time with the students here. Dimitri, another student that you met during the brigand raid against the village, is the house leader of the Blue Lions. The Blue Lions house hails from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, a kingdom known for their knights. Many of the students in this house seem to favor using spears, something that again I'm sure you'll see as you spend time with the students in the Blue Lions house. And finally, the last student that you meet during the brigand raid is Claude, the house leader of the Golden Deers. The Golden Deers house don't actually hail from a single kingdom or empire, unlike the Black Eagles or the Blue Lions, but rather from the Leicester Alliance, a group of kingdoms. The students from the Golden Deer house will have more commoners than the other houses, and a lot of the characters in this house seem to favor using bows. In the first part of 3 houses, you'll be spending a lot of time with the students from all the houses, but ultimately, you have to make a decision to stick with one house, and you'll continue your journey helping fulfill the requests of the house that you chose while going into war against the others. At this point in time, without the game out, it's hard to gauge what each house wants in the time skip portion of the game, but at a quick glance, Dimitri wants to kill them all, Claude just wants to chill, and Edelgard blames the Crests. Speaking of Crests, Crests seem to have a big impact on the gameplay and lore of the 3 houses. There have been comparisons drawn to Fire Emblem 4's Holy Blood system, where characters have major and minor ties to the Crests. Like the Holy Blood system, not everyone in 3 houses will have a crest tied to their name. For instance, Dorothea is the only non-retainer student in the Black Eagles to not have a crest, while the rest of the Black Eagles seem to have one. The main crest can be split into 2 different categories. A crest bloodline that comes from the 10 elites, and a crest bloodline that comes from the 4 saints. These crests were bestowed down by the goddess to 14 people during the War of Heroes. The crests are seemingly only for a noble bloodline, so if you decide to team up with the Golden Deers, keep in mind that there will be fewer characters that have crests, while the Black Eagles and Blue Lions will have plentiful amounts of characters with crests just by the simple fact that they're noble born. However, in the lore of the crests, it is possible for a noble child to be born without one, as is the case with Sylvain's brother who got disowned for not having one. It is also possible for a distant branch of the bloodline to randomly obtain major crests in their bloodline, so the crests are still a mysterious source of power for a lot of characters in Fodlan. As for gameplay, we're still unsure how the bloodline may affect stats, but we do know that the crest gives you an ability and any relics tied to the crest's bloodline, if there are any, without any repercussion. For instance, Catherine has the elite crest of Sharon, which gives her the ability to sometimes raise might when using combat arts. Having the Sharon crest bloodline also gives her the ability to use the Thunderbrand, as seen in her reveal trailer. While other characters can use the Thunderbrand, if you do not have the major or minor crest in Sharon, it seems there will be heavy penalties. Characters can also seemingly have 2 crests. For instance, Lysithea has minor blood in the Sharon crest bloodline, but also seems to have a major crest in the Gloucester bloodline. Fitting, as Lysithea has strong ties to magic, since the Gloucester crest allows her to sometimes raise might during magic attacks. The crest can also be used to identify where each of the kingdoms hail from, as the 4 Saint crest seems to flow through a lot of the Black Eagles house, while the Holy Kingdom of Fargus has the crest of Blooddeed running through a lot of their characters. and it's fitting that the Golden Deers have a lot of different character with crests, as it's an alliance of different kingdoms opposed to one unified force. The final thing about crests is that while the goddess bestowed down the crest to 4 saints and 10 heroes, there seems to be more crests than the initial 14. The crest of the divine are crests that are from Seiros and Nemesis, the characters that we saw in the initial opening of 3 houses. Seiros was the leader of the 10 heroes who leads the 10 heroes in a fight against Nemesis, the Liberation King. Seiros' bloodline seems to flow through the Edestrian Empire, as Edelgard has a minor crest in the Seiros crest bloodline. On the other side of the coin, the Avatar character Byleth seems to have a major crest in the Nemesis bloodline, even though we see his death by Seiros' hands at the beginning of 3 houses. There are also unknown crests that we're unsure about, as is the case with Marianne and her crest. This could mean that there are still crests that we still currently know nothing about. This is all we know about crests so far at this moment in time, and it'll be interesting to see how we the players can optimize the crests if there are any options to optimize them. The JaeAIK Monastery is where you'll be spending a lot of time at the beginning of the game. Since your avatar character plays the role of teacher, you'll be spending a lot of time guiding your students down the right path. What this actually means to the player is that you'll be having a ton of options for customization. Do you want to make a full squad of punching knights? Then go right ahead. The game isn't stopping you from making a full squad of punching knights. However, with this freedom comes its limits and mechanics that you should understand. Some characters will be proficient and inefficient at certain things. For instance, Linhardt seems to be good at casting magic, but will have a tough time learning how to ride a horse. Which is odd, as with a name like Linhardt, you would think he could ride a horse like a beast. But that doesn't mean Linhardt can't ride a horse either. It'll just take more time for Linhardt to get good at riding them than say someone else who is neither proficient or inefficient at riding horses. So, at first glance, the game has canonical classes that they want each character to go down into, for you to have a balanced cast of characters. While at the same time, they don't want to inhibit your freedom for optimization, as I feel some characters will be better in other classes than what the game recommends you to be in for crest optimization. Or this could be sick in the fact that you can make some great meme teams. No, like for reals, imagine just a squad of characters all on horses equipped with javelins. We're bringing down the thunder from heaven, boys. The monastery, while it seems like a fun thing to do, is important because the classes that you turn your characters into will come into effect during the time skip. Once you lock your character into a certain proficiency, that is what you'll be using for the remainder of the game's playthrough. So planning out what classes you want your characters to turn into is incredibly important, so be sure to plan out accordingly. Besides training your students to bring the best out of them, you can also spend time in different facilities like the dining hall, where your main character can spend time eating food with different students to raise support ranks with said students. You can even cook alongside your students to strengthen your bonds as well. There are other options that directly affect the dining hall, like spending your time in the greenhouse to raise the quality of food that the students will be eating, with the added bonus of adding what we can assume to be like stats from the dining hall from Fates. You can also go fishing, a new minigame added into 3 houses to gain gold or whatever other reward that the fishing minigame can provide. I just hope that you can steal the guy renting out the fishing pole's hat. There are a few other facilities that you can interact with, such as the saint statues, where if you restore these statues they can provide stat buffs. I'm not sure if these stats will be permanent or not, but we can assume they will act like the Fates character statues that you can place all over the place in the My Castle portion of the game. And finally, the Amiibo Gazebo, a place where you can scan in your amiibos for rewards, cause why not? Byleth can also do certain actions to interact with the students. This includes counseling, where if you improve them in the right direction, the relationship with the student that you're counseling can improve. The students also being busy with their school life tend to lose a lot of their things, so giving back the lost items also seems to improve the relationship between student and teacher. And finally, you can have a tea party where you can gaze into the loving eyes of each and every one of your students. This isn't weird, I swear. Actually, it is kind of weird. Overall, the interactions that you will have with your students, whether it be counseling, returning a lost item, or a tea party, will all give you points towards building up a support conversation with said student. Strengthening your bonds with said student will provide you bonuses when you get into combat, just like previous support bonuses from older games. And while you can't marry your students while they're at the monastery, it seems you can marry them during the time skip. Unlike recent iterations of Fire Emblem games, marrying doesn't seem to grant you child units. So, feel free to marry whoever you like. And unlike older Fire Emblem games, there also seems to be more gay marriage options, so don't feel like you have to choose a certain gender to get with a certain character. However, I do want to put a quick disclaimer that we do not know all the gay options as of right now. So, if this is something that you're really excited about, then I suggest waiting a little bit for more information to come out about this. Because as of this moment, there is a lot of speculation and misinformation going around. As for combat, the newest thing that they've added is formations. Fire Emblem 3 Houses ups the scale of battle not only by controlling a singular unit, but by adding a squadron behind said unit. This adds the added bonuses of formations when going into combat. As it stands right now, there isn't as much information about how formations will affect combat, so it could be incredibly important or just something that you can throw out the window. With that being said, I'm incredibly excited for the game to come out soon. I hope that this video will show you what you should be expecting going into 3 Houses and some of the things that you can do. I try to cover as many of the new mechanics coming to 3 Houses as possible with all the information that's readily available, and for all I know, this could still be subject to change. Either way, let me know what you're excited about 3 Houses in the comment section below, and as always, thanks for watching.